Lagos, the city of boundless energy. Every street tells a story of progress. Roads being built, markets buzzing, communities growing. But behind every successful project, there is one crucial element: the people who feel the impact or bear the brunt. Who ensures that every voice is heard? How do we harmonize government vision, contractors' mandate, and community concerns for seamless project delivery? Join us this Saturday at PSSDC Magodo for the June edition of the Greater Lagos Rising Series. Our guest speaker, the Executive Assistant to the Governor on Project Monitoring and Implementation, Mr. Olusegun Sanwoolu, will be speaking on the topic Stakeholder Management as a Catalyst for Successful Project Delivery in the Public Service. Discover the strategies that keep Lagos projects on track, the partnerships that propel them forward, and the engagement that transform plans into landmarks. As always, you can participate in our live quizzes for a chance to win cash prizes. Join us this Saturday using the link shown on your screen. Come, let us learn, let us engage, and let us together take Lagos to the next level. See you there.
Eku akete, ilé ọmọ. Eku akete, ilé ọmọ. Àwọn ọmọdé dẹ́ kó má má já o. Eku aró mi sá lẹ́gbẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́. Àwọn ọmọdé dẹ́ kó má má sá o. Eku aró mi sá lẹ́gbẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́. Kò má sí dúdá òbè kòwé. Àpérò kò má sí dúdá òbè kòwé. Bekowe o kò má sí dúdá òbè. Bèbè náà sí tò. Kò má sí dúdá òbè kòwé. Rárá, kò má sí dúdá òbè kòwé. Bekowe o kò má sí dúdá òbè. Bekowe o bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Lagos nílé, ó dára òórùn wá o.
Lagos, the city of boundless energy. Every street tells a story of progress. Roads being built, markets buzzing, communities growing. But behind every successful project, there is one crucial element: the people who feel the impact or bear the brunt. Who ensures that every voice is heard? How do we harmonize government vision, contractors' mandate, and community concerns for seamless project delivery? Join us this Saturday at PSSDC Magodo for the June edition of the Greater Lagos Rising Series. Our guest speaker, the Executive Assistant to the Governor on Project Monitoring and Implementation, Mr. Olusegun Sanwoolu, will be speaking on the topic Stakeholder Management as a Catalyst for Successful Project Delivery in the Public Service. Discover the strategies that keep Lagos projects on track, the partnerships that propel them forward, and the engagement that transforms. As always, you can participate in our live quizzes for a chance to win cash prizes. Join us this Saturday using the link shown on your screen. Come.
From within these states, which is Lagos states, or you are from another state, or you are outside Nigeria as well, because I am aware that we have diasporans that are also participating in this our periodic program. So let me welcome you to this edition of Greater Lagos Rising, and it is powered by the Lagos State Staff Development Center. which is responsible for the human capital development of government organizations in Lagos State, and also by reason of a consultancy, it provides same services to non-governmental organizations. This is the different topics, different issues. Let me put it that way. We've had conversations around traffic management. We've had conversations around environment, and we also had one that was, so detailed about the 2025 budget sustainability. And so this session, this webinar has always been, knowledge adding, and just beyond knowledge, it provides, basic understanding, for whatever concepts that we decide to focus on per edition. So before we proceed, because we need to quickly get down to the reason we are here, I would like to let me look at the list of our key participants that are here, and let me good. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Okay, so I would like to invite Mr. Kola Shulaja, the director of Global Lagos State Public Service Staff Development Center, Lagos State, Magodo, to help. Thank you very much, Mr. Kola Shulaja. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, our own Mr. Babajide. Thank you for being the anchorman behind today's Lagos Rising series. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Director General, Lagos State Public Service Staff Development Center, the first multidisciplinary training institution in the whole of West Africa, the only training institution
Okay, Mr. Shulaja, we cannot hear you. I guess there are some technical glitches over there.
That has the mandate to train today, which have contributed immensely to enlightenment of public servants and indeed the civil populace in Nigeria and in the country as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted that as an institution, human capacity institution, we are building our own resources, and we are also ensuring that we contribute towards human capital and the indeed development of Lagos State as a whole. It is yet another very important program, very important in the sense that everything we do holds around project management. Some people don't know that whatever they are doing can indeed be regarded as project. And what will showcase you is when you treat it as project and you use the systemic approach in project monitoring and project execution to execute whatever assignment that you have been given. So today we are very privileged and indeed very, very blessed, let me use that word, to have our own Mr. Sanwoolu, who is the special advisor to the governor on project monitoring, that will be taking us today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you listen very well and if you take note of what he's going to tell you, we will be able to know how government values these projects, especially government of Lagos State, and how those projects are monitored. And that is why Lagos State is becoming the signature in the whole of Africa, because we use systematic approach in everything that we do. And part of what we do is projects. And it is this project that has really showcased Lagos State to be one of, in fact, the best state in Nigeria, that other states in Nigeria will come and see how Lagos is doing, how Lagos is thriving, so that they can be part of what Lagos is doing, and they can also replicate that in their various states. On behalf of the DG PSSDC, I want to say a very big thank you to our facilitator for today, Mr. Olusegun Sanwoolu. Sorry, are you hearing me?
Yes, yes, clearly.
Great, thank you. So we want to appreciate Mr. Olusegun Sanwoolu, who, out of his very tight schedule, was with us last month when we had our program, and he also gave a sort of background into what he's going to be taking today. And today, he's here with us. Despite his very tight schedule, he's here with us, not only here with us, very timely and very promptly, showing that as a project manager, you must be cost conscious, you must be time conscious, and you must be effective and efficient. Once again, on behalf of the DG, I want to welcome you and thank our facilitator for today, Mr. Olusegun Sanwoolu, and pray that God will continue to shower his blessing upon him, and he will move Lagos State through project monitoring to a greater height. You are most welcome. Thank you, everybody. Mr. Moderator, the ball is in your court. Thank you.
I can hear some. Can we have mics muted? Thank you very much. Okay. This wonderful. Each have their mics on, so that's why I'm having a sort of echo here. Okay, all right, so it's good now. So thank you very much, sir. So, like he had rightly mentioned, today we're going to be drilling into the subject of stakeholder management, and then we are doing it in the context of project delivery in the public service. A lot of people are not aware that most of the challenges that they have in the process of executing a project or a program is because they are not able to first identify the key stakeholders. And they are not also able to identify the interests of the stakeholders. Neither do they even prepare, to address the interests and also to analyze the risk involved in case they do not dance to the tunes in a way or consider the interests of the stakeholders. So this topic in particular is something that I always want to listen to. I always want to learn about, because it's technically a major factor that will determine how successful you are, either as an organization or as a government entity or as an individual. So please permit me to introduce again our speaker for today, Mr. Olusegun Sanwoolu, who is the Executive Assistant to the Lagos State Governor on Project Management, Monitoring and Implementation. Let me quickly run through just a part of his detailed and robust profile. Throughout, Mr. Olusegun incorporates public and retail banking. He has built a strong track record of process improvements in a highly regulated industry by leveraging a balanced focus on asset management, relationships building, and project execution. He drives action, regulatory compliance, and profitability. As the global finance industry evolves, is eager to forge strategic partnerships where his expertise in financial analysis, government relations, and risk management can add value. He is particularly interested in collaborating with progressive organizations that value his analytical mindset, diverse skill sets, and long-term commitments. Let me just highlight some of his things that have happened in his career so far. Concerning education and certifications, he holds a master's degree in international law and diplomacy, a project manager professional PMP certification, and is currently pursuing financial modeling and valuation analysis (FMVA) at CFI. Now, his growth has been rapid. He earned 4 promotions across 3 different business units in banking, consistently boosting profitability within 6 months of taking new roles. He is a high value, client and fund manager. He serves as a relationship manager for corporate for major corporations and HNW clients managing an average portfolio of $200 million US on market conditions and investment strategies. Successfully, he brokered lucrative business relationships with Zenith Bank and state governments, creating mutual value. At Zenith Bank, he thrived by combining diligence, a solutions-driven mindset, and the principle of continuous improvement as a project manager by people. For the retail banking group, he was recognized as a subject matter expert in banking operations with relentless focus on client service excellence. His leadership, on the last note, this is just a summary. His leadership fostered a culture of collaboration and efficiency, delivering measurable results for those organizations. Please welcome with me Mr. Olusegun Sanwoolu, the Executive Assistant to the Lagos State Governor on Project Management, Monitoring and Implementation, as he takes us on this session for 40 minutes, after which we'll have people throw in their questions addressing those. Sir, I welcome you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I'm very grateful for the very, very warm welcome and introduction. Like you rightly said, we'll jump right into it. Let me quickly recognize the Director General of the PSSDC, ably represented by Mr. Kola Shulaja. Can you hear me?
Yes, correct, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone that is here today to participate in this conversation. Stakeholder management as a catalyst to successful project delivery in public service. This morning, I'm going to be wearing 3 hats to deliver. First and foremost, I'm going to be here as a negotiant, like everyone here, and most of us here rather. I'm also going to be speaking as a project manager. And thirdly, I'm going to be speaking to us as a government official. So interchangeably, as we go through the slides, I'll be, speaking in one of those 3 hats. I'm able to say, like Mr. Kola Sholaja said, that everyone here is a project manager, and by virtue of that, everyone here is a stakeholder manager. Whether you are a school teacher, whether you're a pupil, whether you're a student, whether you're a pastor, you have a congregation, whether you are a bank worker, whether you're a government official, wherever you are, you always must have to manage people around you, because why? We have limited resources in the world and we have limited time. So we have that ground rule that we are all stakeholder managers. How we use that skill now depends on us individually. So right to it, just a little about me. Even though our moderator has said a lot, in fact, I don't even know what more to say, but I'll just add 1 or 2 things. I've been a project manager for about 15 years. Throughout my journey, I've always, loved to collaborate and partner with people. I believe so much in teamwork, and perhaps that's one of the reasons why, I went into project management. I got certified as a professional, project management professional in 2015. So I've been certified for about 10, 11 years now. And of course, by virtue of my role, I coordinate stakeholders, which is why we're here to talk about. I track project milestones together with the team in project implementation and monitoring units. And of course, Lagos being the economic hub of Nigeria, having over 2,000 projects, it's a lot of work. So we focus on priority projects of the states to ensure that we deliver value to the citizens. So that's a little about me. And thank you very much for coming in early this morning. It's raining in Lagos. I don't know if it's raining where you are, but I appreciate the effort and the will to be here. So let's go right into it. About PIMO. PIMO is Project Implementation Monitoring Unit. It was established in 2007 to achieve fullest value for taxpayers' money in delivering infrastructural projects and ultimately guarantee improved quality of life for Lagosians. 2009, our mandate was expanded to involve warehousing of as-built drawings. This was more about documenting, our successes in projects. And more recently, in 2024, it was also expanded to strengthen project management capacity in the civil service. And by this, our ultimate aim is to make sure that we have perhaps a killer of project managers, because project management is a soft skill, that is very, very vital in our world today, where we have multiple projects going on in IT, in infrastructure, socio-economic projects, and all of that. So that's about people. Next slide. I want to go to the next slide, please. Okay, so our mandates at PIMO, and this is just giving a brief background of what we do at the project management unit. So we monitor and evaluate priority infrastructure projects. Like I earlier mentioned, we have a lot of projects going on in Lagos. So it's just to monitor the priority ones that give the biggest and most value to Lagosians. We validate and inspect projects for the government's commissioning, the central project database. Of course, that's about documenting lessons learned from past projects, both successful and unsuccessful. We try as much as possible to reduce abandoned projects or failed projects in our inspection routines through early detection and support for executing NDAs. We also try to mediate project-related petitions and stakeholder disputes. Of course, on a regular basis, periodic basis, we report to Mr. Governor on priority projects and as directed on any projects. And we give advice and expert recommendation on these projects. We have a lot of professionals. We have architects, we have quantity surveyors, we have builders, engineers, civil engineers on the team. So in every aspect of projects, particularly infrastructure projects, we have people that can speak to, we have subject matter experts that can speak to issues. Next slide. So this is like the most important part of this presentation. Expected outcomes. By the end of this engagement, I hope that we as Lagosians will be able to understand our right and responsibility to speak up on government projects as active contributors and not as passive listeners or observers. We must have heard about the slogan, see something, say something. Secondly, it's also important for you to know the channels to engage your leaders, whether at the local government level, at the state level, individually, at the community level, when projects are delayed, poorly executed, or falling short of standard. Usually, every project is meant to have a project board that shows the executing project agency. Very also important is the need to protect public assets for yourself. If we're a bit familiar with the trend and how we've been commissioning projects in Lagos, you will often hear Mr. Governor say that he's handing over the project to you, he's handing over the roads to you, he's handing over the school to you, the building to you, to ensure that the continuity, the sustainability, the management of the infrastructural project that has been delivered is over to you. So we must make sure that we don't vandalize our assets so that they can stand the test of time after it has been built and delivered. And lastly, I'm also going to be speaking about the project management report portal, which is to give access to you as Lagosians to give us feedback and report issues and track progress whenever and wherever necessary across the 5 divisions of Lagos. So these are the expected outcomes of this particular presentation. So earlier, Mr. Shola just spoke about what a project is. We must, however, really emphasize that the project is a temporary endeavor. Underline the word temporary, which is undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result with clear objectives, a defined timeline, and measurable outcome. So it's a temporary endeavor, and that's why I said in our various endeavors that in our lives, we're all project managers. Whether we are, whether we want to do like conduct a wedding ceremony for our children, whether we want to send our children to school is a project, whether we want to build a house is a project. So in our individual lives and as a government, we all have projects that we execute. It may not be an infrastructure project, it may be a socio-economic project, it may be an IT project, but we are all project managers. So in this context, this is what a project is, and we're focusing more because we are a government on infrastructure projects. So you can see there the Okwebi link, Ojota Road, that is under construction, which is almost ready for commissioning perhaps next month. So that is what the project is in essence. It involves planning, design, and construction of physical structures geared towards public development and economic welfare of our people. Next slide. So having identified what the project is, the next step is who is a stakeholder, right? And that's why we're here. So a stakeholder is any individual, a group, organization who can affect or be affected by or perceive themselves to be affected by a public project, policy, or service. It is extremely important in project management, in public service of delivering projects to identify who a stakeholder is. Once you identify your stakeholders, your job is half done. Stakeholders are the ones at the end of the day that will judge if your project is impactful, if it is useful to them or not. Next slide. So because of time, I'm trying to rush through the slides, but as much as possible, we need to focus on the slides and what I'm saying to have a take home. Who is a key stakeholder? So we've identified who a stakeholder is, people that perceive themselves to be affected by any project. So who are key stakeholders? Key stakeholders are those whose interests or influence are critical to the success or failure of the project. They include decision makers, resource providers, beneficiaries, and vocal interest groups. So I'm speaking with the heart of the government now. As a government, a key stakeholder is Mr. Governor, the Executive Governor of Lagos State. A key stakeholder in the project executing MDAs are the commissioners, the honorable commissioners, or the permanent secretaries. A key stakeholder for us, wherever we are implementing the project, are the host communities. A key stakeholder is the contractor who is implementing the project. A key stakeholder, traditional rulers, religious leaders, or professional bodies that are involved in that space or that particular project that we're about to implement. And that is very, very key because once you identify who that key stakeholder is, it will drive how well the project is executed because they have the influence. For instance, if you're seeking for approval from a government point of view to execute a project and you don't have approval from Mr. Governor or from your commissioner or your permanent secretary, the project is bound to fail. It's dead on arrival. So identification of these key stakeholders in every project is critical to the success of that project. Next slide. So like I was saying earlier, we have different types of stakeholders, but for this conversation, we're going to limit it to internal as the government and external as the end users. So internally, right, we have Mr. Governor, like I mentioned earlier, we have the EXCO, the political office holders, we have the permanent secretaries, the heads of agencies, the project monitoring officers that come to sites to visit the end users, negotiations. We have the civil servants, right, who process files and everything. Okay, we have Isiaka saying that they can't see slides. So please, can we look into that, Mr. Moderator?
Thank you, sir, for bringing that up. I can see the slides clearly from my own end. I don't know. We don't know what could be the challenge from that person. Please, can you check your setup properly?
Could be a network issue.
Yes.
I can also see the slides.
All right, so I'll continue. And please feel free to continue with message.
Everybody can see the slides, so you don't need to disrupt, please.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. All right, so we have external stakeholders in form of the community members, the contractors, the consultants on the project, and of course, the most important, the end users, who the project has been executed for. Next slide. So why stakeholder management matters? It is fundamentally about the people understanding, engaging, and collaborating with everyone with a stake in the project outcome. I remember one time I went for an inspection on a nearly abandoned project. I think it was somewhere around Ifakojayi, and it was a road construction. Now, this is 6 months down the line. They also have delivered the project, and the contractor was just not able to deliver. So we have to ask questions: what's going on here? Why are we not able to deliver this project within the time frame? Because every project has a budget, it has a scope, and a time frame. So we didn't approach it from the contractor point of view because he had his own regular story was giving us. We went to the people and said, why is this thing stalling? Because we believe that you would want this road because once you build roads or connecting accesses, it opens the area for development, property prices increase, schools come in, and economic development, comes up when you build roads and you connect people. And we found out that there was a critical issue that wasn't addressed ab initio, by the contractor. When, after he had gotten the contract awarded, it was one of the ballets in the land because it's a bit of a remote area, and they had these trees that they had built, right? And it was sacred trees that they had regular routine sacrifices to in that local community. I think it was around Alakoko in Kakojai. And we had to discuss with them that, okay, we understand that these trees are very important. We understand your beliefs. We understand that, this is what helps to keep your community safe. But at the same time, we're also trying to bring development. We promised the people, we promised the Goshen's team's agenda. We promised them development. We promised them growth across all states. So how do we now, ensure that we build this road without cutting off the trees and making sure that you also have your community at peace? So they now came back to us to say, okay, we have to do one or two things. We have to bring money to sacrifice. And we were like, okay, how do we recognize this even in the budget of the contractor? Because the contractor has been awarded. So ab initio, if you don't have this kind of conversations in different areas, the project may not be successful. And we're wondering 6 months down the line, 7 months, this road has not been built. So there are always soft issues where you have to go in there, discuss with the community, discuss with the traditional leaders, find out what happens, what best to make the project work. And then eventually for you to have a successful project. So it's not just about having government backup or you're having the police. It's about engaging with the people to find out, why there are delays, or not even from the government side, but even from the community itself. So stakeholder management is extremely important. And for that particular project, we're able to resolve it by just discussing with the ballet, and eventually reached a logical conclusion, and the road was successfully delivered. However, at a delayed period. Next slide. Is the continuous process of strategically identifying, analyzing, planning, implementing actions to engage with and positively influence, underline positively influence individuals and groups who can affect or be affected by public projects. So that was what I was explaining earlier, where, initially the contractor didn't identify the powers that be in that particular community where he wanted to execute that project. So it's very, very important that as an individual, as a government, we must identify our stakeholders to ensure successful project delivery. Next slide. Okay, again, why is stakeholder management crucial for successful project outcomes? We spoke about immense diversity. What might work in Lekki may not work in Agege. Different cultures, different locations have different people, and by extension, different needs. So the stakeholders in Lekki may be different from the stakeholders in our people. And how you engage them may be different. Some may have to speak English, some may have to speak Yoruba. It's about that soft skill of communicating what you want to achieve without hindering, the local community's intentions or their well-being. So it's very, very important that, as a project manager, you know how to manage stakeholders in every unique location, right? We have interconnectedness and rapid development. Lagos, as of today, over 5,000 people come to Lagos on a daily basis, right? And as the influx of people come, there's pressure on the infrastructure. And as the pressure increases, there's also pressure on the government to deliver infrastructure for the people of Lagos to maintain or to improve the standard of living. So how do we do this? How do we ensure that, the projects that the roads that we build, the hospitals that we provide, are doing are having positive impact on the people? We have our hospitals that are public hospitals that give free services to Nigerians. They're not going to be asking if you're Lagosian, or you are from Kano, or you are from Kaduna, or you are from Ebonyi. So how do we ensure that we manage all our stakeholders in a way that Lagosians, particularly Lagosians that pay tax in Lagos, enjoy the best of services that the government is providing? Next slide. So the 3 pillars of effective stakeholder management are these, and I hope we can all see. Number one is identification. I spoke about this earlier. Once you can identify, right, your stakeholders in any project, you're outdone. Because that identification is very, very important. Some stakeholders will not come out in the fall at the initial of the project. They'll just be there shaking their legs. They won't talk to you, but they are waiting for you to fail. So you must be able to identify every important stakeholder in your project. I remember again when we, from the lessons learned, when we were trying to construct the bread line. The bread line is a 37-kilometer rail from Agbado to Marina. That was the initial plan, 37 kilometers. And because of where the rail was meant to pass in the master plan on paper, it was going to affect a lot of houses, a lot of livelihoods, and then therefore they need to be compensated. Believe you me, between Mushin and Agbado, about 7,000 households were relocated and compensated. And guess what? It didn't make the news. Why? Because they were properly managed. 7,000 households of business owners, of tenants, of landlords. What did we do right? The Lamata team with the engineers moved on site and engaged directly with the tenants, people that met from ground, spoke to them about why it is important to build a rail network to reduce the pressure on road network in Lagos. Why it is important to connect Lagosians so that they can have their journey time can be reduced, so that they can have good quality life after work and get home early to meet with their families. Why it is important for that project to come in play to reduce the pressure on road traffic and to also open up other areas. Now, when we did that, those 7,000 people are called project affected persons. They're also part of the stakeholders. After that was done, we moved on to complete the blue line. Now, the interesting part of stakeholder management and engagement is that there are different parts of it. So that was the post community. Now, in terms of the project itself, the red line, we also found that we didn't need to complete 37 kilometers to achieve what we wanted to achieve, because the blue line was also coming from Marina to Mount in the first phase and then to Kokomeko in the second phase. So there was a meeting point at Ido, right? That's the Oyinbo area. So we didn't have a need to construct the red line from Agbado to Marina anymore. So by constantly engaging with ourselves, constantly talking to stakeholders, both at the government level, both subject matter experts, both community level, we're able to significantly reduce the red line from 37 kilometers to 27 kilometers. So the red line today is from Agbado to Ido, where it meets with the blue line, so that anybody going to Marina can cross over from the red line to the blue line to get to Marina. Am I communicating? So these are part of the reasons why stakeholder management, you can't do it alone. You have to interact with the people, you have to interact with the contractor, you have to interact with the subject matter experts to ensure that at the end of the day you have a successful project. And it's one of the legacy projects of the administration of Babajide Sanwoolu. So identifying your stakeholders is very key for project success. Engagement, continuous engagement. In the earlier slides, we saw like a cyclic movement of engagement. It never stops. From the beginning of the project to the end of the project, you must engage your stakeholders. And even after, to know the impact, of that project. This project, when you started it, it has some objectives. Has it met its objectives? Is it meeting the objectives? Now, if it is not, what can we do to, ensure that, we can meet that objective or even better improve it? That is where, management comes in, sustaining relationships for impact. Next slide. Okay, so key questions to drive stakeholder identification from a government perspective. So these are the questions we ask ourselves whenever we're implementing projects. Who is directly affected? Is it the residents? Is it the community? Or is it the commuters? Is it the local community? Is it the international community? So you have to identify who the people are that are directly affected, directly and indirectly. Who has the authority or the regulatory power over this project? These are key stakeholders that can hamper or help delivery of the project. Who influences public opinion or decisions? And as I'm asking these questions, they're also very relatable in our individual lives, right? Even if you come to the family units between husband and wife, there's a stakeholder. You have to carry them along in all your decisions. Otherwise, your projects or your initiatives may be dead on arrival. So it's a learning point for all of us, not just as a government, but as individuals. Who holds relevant expertise or knowledge in that particular project? This talks about subject matter experts. This cannot be overemphasized. Ab initio on any project, we all try to get the subject matter expert professionals that can give us advice, that can even help us identify, right, the key stakeholders and other stakeholders that may not be so visible but are very relevant to the success of the project. So who can mobilize support or opposition? These are also very critical to the success of project delivery. Next slide. Key principles in guiding stakeholder engagement. Number one, which is very important, is ensure transparency and honesty, so that at the beginning, the scope of the project is clear, the goal of the project is clear, and the risks, and of course, the mitigants are outlined and well laid out. Active listening is important in stakeholder engagement, because for you to implement something, many times government has good intentions, right? We have good intentions of implementing projects, but we have to also listen to the host community where you want to implement the project. They may not want it in a certain way, they may want it in a certain way because of their beliefs, like I mentioned earlier, the traditional beliefs, their way of doing things. So you have to merge it to ensure that you're listening to them, because the solution is for them, right? It's for the people, it's for you, it's for negotiators. So you have to listen to you to understand what exactly you need and implement that project in such a way that it can meet your needs and also meet the objectives and the promises of the administration. Of course, you have to be inclusive and accessible, reaching all marginalized groups. As a government, we try as much as possible to not to seclude anybody. More recently, in all our buildings, we have a section for the disabled, people living with disabilities, right? Because they're also negotiators. Some of them pay tax, right? And they have to be included in the master plan. So one of the things we look out for when we go out inspecting is how well we provide for the people living with disabilities in our toilets, our restrooms, access to the building itself with the ramps. Many times you go to sites, you see some ramps that even people that have 2 legs cannot properly walk on. We have to tell them that no, this thing cannot work. You have to empathize with people. This is a listening government. You have to make sure that the ramp is not too steep. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose of the construction, right? So engaging stakeholders and making sure that they understand that you're listening, you're empathetic, is very, very critical to project success. Again, showing cultural sensitivity by respecting local customs and differences is critical. Like we mentioned earlier, what may be applicable in Bogije, in Ebejuleki, may not be applicable at Ajikole or in Ikorodu. So they have different cultural beliefs, different customs in different areas, and that is why it is very, very important that as a project manager, you identify these things and you work with it to ensure the successful delivery of your project. I remember having a conversation with one of the registrar of the CIPMN, that's the China Institute of Project Manager, and he was telling me that, many times when we go on site, I'm speaking as a government now, when you go on site, people ask for the site engineer, and nobody asks for the project manager. There are so many things that the engineer can do, the project manager will be able to do, that the engineer may not be able to do. A project manager must be able to integrate people, must be able to bring people together through communication. An engineer will be very good at his job. A bricklayer, a quantity surveyor, a builder will be very good, but he may not be able to communicate. So a project manager, right, through stakeholder engagement, knows who to talk to for what, for the success of the project. So again, we're all stakeholders. We must all, identify the stakeholders. We must all manage, our stakeholders. And that's the learning point in all of this. That wherever we find ourselves, we must identify our key stakeholders to ensure the delivery of any project that we intend to, deliver. But as a government, we continue to implore you that you should engage with us so that we can deliver to your needs. Please, next slide. You were right. Next slide. Okay, I think I spoke about this already. Key aspects of effective stakeholder management. The end users, it's very important for them to know the goals, the timelines, the constraints. I remember another project that happened at I think somewhere around Herbert Macaulay, and it was a road construction, not a state project, but a local government project. And there was no project board, there was no timeline. They just kept on constructing it. They kept on, changing contract, and it was a mess up to about 8 or 9 months. I want to say that no, this is not right, because people need to manage their lives. People need to have access to good roads. People need to know and plan, right? So, ab initio, because there was no communication to the end users, in our opinion, that was a failed project, and we can do better. So we need to provide clear and responsive channels to end users. It will strengthen trust. We need to ensure that their voices are heard. We need to continuously monitor and evaluate the success of the project, because again, from an end user perspective, we need to ensure that we tick all the boxes. We need to ensure that we document our lessons learned from the project, so that future projects as a government, again, government is a continuum, so that future projects can learn from that, from the previous mistake that we made, or the successes that we recorded, to ensure that our projects are executed within budget, within scope, and within time. The last line says stakeholder management is the thread that ties the entire project fabric together. For those of us that are familiar with the knowledge areas in project management, we know that there are 10 areas. You have the scope management, the procurement management, the risk management, and all of that. The 10th knowledge area is the stakeholder management. Stakeholder management has to do with all the knowledge areas, and it brings everybody together because it is continuous. You have to always talk to people. You have to always talk to the contractor. You have to talk to the sponsor, the project sponsor, the key stakeholders, to ensure that the project is delivered within budget, within scope, and within time, and the quality, right? The quality of that project is not compromised. Next slide. So this question is, what is in it for me? What is in it for you as a negotiator? Why should you be involved in projects as a stakeholder? Some of us, like I said earlier, we'll go back to the expected outcomes. We don't get to involve or apply ourselves to projects that are happening in the States. It is not meant to be so. Once we apply ourselves, we put questions to our leaders, we put questions to people that are, executing projects. The projects are likely to succeed faster, because the time delivery, the cost control is critical to the project's delivery. Public trust grows when citizens feel heard, respected, and included. Again, the projects are for the citizens. It's for you. It's for us. So it is important for you to also know how to reach the government, or the officials, or the contractor who are implementing this project. And it's not just about the state government projects. It's about federal government projects. It's about local government projects. It's about reaching out to the people that are, implementing, to ensure that projects are delivered within the triple constraints. Earlier engagement. When end users, negotiations are spoken to, when you are spoken to ab initio, you understand and you work with the plan. It helps to identify issues that may come up later, and it reduces conflict. Because once you don't carry on, like I mentioned earlier on the case about on the road issue in Ifakojai, if the identification had been done, if the ballet had been engaged earlier, I can assure you that we wouldn't have lost up to 6-7 months that delayed the project. So it is important to carry on, a strategic key stakeholder identification and engagement. Community insights. We talk about community policing all the time. These are guys on ground that know about the environment, that know the soil texture, the soil structure. They have been there season in, season out. So when, a government official or a project executing MTA wants to come and, implement a project, the end users are more informed about that particular area. They can guide, they can lead. So it's important for you to speak up, to say that, okay, you know what, this is what happens during the rainy season, this is what happens during the dry season. So based on that, you can actually do this. Or this is the person that I need to speak to. This is the person. Okay, someone says they can't hear me. Can you all hear me? The person that we need.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear. We are hearing you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. This is the person you need to speak to. These are the bodies that you need to manage, and so on and so forth. When people are involved, they develop a sense of ownership. When negotiators are involved, they develop a sense of ownership and ensuring that assets are protected, which is extremely important, and are sustainable. How does growth and development come to play? when you build a road in a certain area and you build it to last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you don't have to go back there to rehabilitate. What we've seen in times past is where you implement projects and then after 6 months, after the rest, you have to go back there to rehabilitate because there are potholes, there are this and that. No, that's not how to implement projects, because this administration was very, very intentional and specific about projects implementation and monitoring. You'll bear with me if you look at the Bagada or Shoki Road. When it was being constructed during the first administration, we had to use reinforced concrete to build that road. Now, it was a very long period, about 8 months or so. It was harrowing, there was traffic going to the island. But when it is done, people have forgotten the harrowing experience. And that road will stand the test of time. Again, from, I think we had from motorways to Ojota down to Okwebi, the road was done with, it was constructed with reinforced concrete. Mind you, I'm not a civil engineer, right, as a project manager, but I'm aware because we went there to see what they were doing. They went in almost about 6 meters. That particular strip, every now and then, before now, you would have to like go and relay asphalt to make the road motorable. But now, come rain, come shine, that road is there. So we've moved on from there. We're not going back there in the next 5, 10 years. We're going to other inner areas of Lagos. And that is where development comes in. When you build projects that can last, so that whenever you construct a project, you can move to other areas to continue the good work. I think we're running out of time. Next slide. Okay, this is most important area now. Follow us on social media. We have the Office of the Civic Engagement, where citizens are empowered to communicate directly with government officials, Lagos State specifically. So please, I don't know if the moderator is going to make this slides available. citizensgate.lagostate.gov.ng is where you can engage whatever the issues are, whatever the complaints are. If it's a service level issue, that's where you can go to lay your complaints. More specifically, the second slide, the pmr.lagosmepp.org, is where you can track projects wherever you are in Lagos State, across the village division, that's Ikorodu, Badagry, Ikeja, Lagos Island, Ekpe. You can go there, you can, if you can even log on to it, fine. You would see different projects in different areas. You can critique it. That's why we're here, to listen, to take feedback, because at the end of the day, the projects are for you and for us, Lagosians. Also, on a personal note, you can follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn, and of course, our host, PSSDC. They have all the channels there where you can follow them. Before I close, can we quickly go back to the expected outcomes of this session? Moderator.
Yes.
So, having known the channels, the expected outcomes is for you as a stakeholder. Now that you know that you're a stakeholder in the project, wherever you are, wherever your community is in Lagos, it is important for you to speak up on government projects, whatever the situation is. If it is good, we'd like to hear. If it is bad, please tell us, so that we can do better, see something, say something. Know the channels, right, to engage us when projects are delayed, when they are poorly executed or falling short. If there's no project board there, please take pictures with your phone, upload on those emails that I shared there, civic engagement or the project management reporting portal. Please help us to help you, because we are here for you. Number 3, recognize the need to protect public assets for yourself and the long-term benefits of your community or area of influence. We've had cases where, people vandalize projects and, it is not sustainable. So please, it is the primary responsibility of host community to maintain these projects when they are delivered. Mr. Governor keeps saying it at every commissioning that we've done, over 1,000. The community has the responsibility of protecting the public assets. And lastly, I've shared the link of the PMR portal with us. Please feel free to go there, engage us, critique us. We welcome it, because that's how we know we're doing good or doing bad, and we can take Lagos, to the next level. Last slide, moderator. Okay, so this talks about joining us to build a greater Lagos. The future of Lagos is in our collective hands. We can't do it alone. We require your help. We require your support, and we pray that together we can make this work. Let us unlock Lagos' full potential through meaningful engagement. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm very privileged to have your audience. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Very much, This is wonderful. This is a masterclass in just 40 minutes. I mean, it is obvious how timely you are, because I was looking at the time and then I saw how you deliberately ensured that you kept to the time. You even ensured that you did not exhaust the time by 3 minutes. Like that is apt. Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate this masterclass, and I will quickly do a recap for people that probably joined late, and after people will ask a number of questions, and then you would help us to address them. Thank you very much. So he started this session by letting us know that we are all project managers, and that means technically, directly or indirectly, we are also stakeholders managers. Okay, he mentioned something about Lagos State having over over 2,000 projects at hand, and that calls for the importance. I mean, that shows the importance of having a unit like PIMO, Lagos State Project Implementation and Monitoring Unit, which is saddled with, among other responsibilities, which is saddled with strengthening project management in public service. Through it took us through PIMO mandates, and I won't have to repeat that again. It talked about what a project is, and then who is a stakeholder. Made us to understand that the stakeholder is whoever is affected or perceives themselves. I like that part. Perceive themselves as being affected by a project, a policy, and then he differentiated between stakeholders and key stakeholders. He made us to know that the key stakeholders are those that their interest and influence are to the success or failure of a project. And he also let us know that there are internal stakeholders and there are external stakeholders. And he differentiated between the internal and external stakeholders. He also made examples to let us know that the key stakeholders, include, of course, the executive governor, the commissioners, the PAs, and the agencies, and, including the end users, the public servants, and what's up. He went on to elaborate on why project management matters. It talks about how it is fundamentally about the people, and it is also to ensure that it succeeds. It took us through 3 pillars of effective stakeholders management and how to drive them. It made us to know that we have the identification of stakeholder as one of the pillars, and then the engagement, and then the management. In the identification, it's talking about who is directly influenced, who is directly affected, who has the authority or regulatory power, who influences public opinions, who has expertise. And those are the key stakeholders at that level of identification. And then he talked about the engagement, which is about building bridges, ensure transparency, honesty. He told us that to build bridges, you need to listen actively. And then inclusivity is also very important, because you can't be doing this project and you're not considering people that are of special needs. Mention proactiveness, cultural sensitivity. I cannot just cover everything because it's a master class in just 40 minutes. And he went on to talk about management, how to sustain relationships with these stakeholders so that you can achieve it. And you need to communicate realistic goals, that we need to adhere to timelines. We need to even make the timelines available, and they have to be realistic. We have to identify our constraints. You need to be clear and responsive in the channels that you provide to engage these people. He mentioned how monitoring the engagement efforts is also an important part of the management pillar. What is in it for us? It made us to know that the benefit of private management cuts across. Number one, the public trust is very important. Then the early engagement, community insight, so that you can create the community insight into whatever projects you are doing for them. Because this service that they are rendering, the services are for the masses. It's not for them in that sense. So, and it talks about asset protection and, of course, sustainability. It ended the set by giving us, that it is important that we have channels by which we can maintain engagement and manage the stakeholders. So he now ended the session by giving us, we can all go or check citizengate.lagostate.gov.ng so as to engage, with them on projects, with Lagos State, let's put it that way, in projects. And if you are interested in knowing the status of certain projects, that in fact you should be interested, because you should be aware. So he said we can go to pmr.lagosnepb.org. We can have those links pasted in the chat box so that I can copy and use. And on that note, he rounded off the session and he didn't even exhaust the entire time. He was so asked. Thank you very much, Mr. So, Mr. Sanwoolu Olusegun. Thank you very much. So now we will use the next 10 minutes thereabout to entertain questions. So you can drop your questions in the chat box, and then we will take some questions verbally, and then the rest will be, because of the time constraints, the rest will be addressed. Just you can put them on the chat box, or we'll send you a link where you can drop those questions. So whose question should we? Thank you. We are seeing people that are appreciating the session. Whose question should we take first? Please, I need to emphasize this. Let our question be brief. If your question is getting long, the technical guys may mute your mic. Okay, so let the question be brief. Let's go direct to the question. Thank you very much. So I'm taking the first person on my own list here, as shown on the screen, Mr. Daly. I want to unmute you. Okay, please, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Mr. Ogofe, I didn't know.
Thank you for can you hear me?
Yes, clearly, sir.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you clearly, sir. Mr. Ogofe.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Babajide, for the job well done. I want to especially appreciate Mr. Olusegun Sanwoolu. If you look at the chat box I put there, I said Mr. Sanwoolu actually displayed the project management skill, because he actually simplified the section. I want to appreciate you for that. But at the start of your delivery, Mr. Sanwoolu, I have always known that project management falls under technical skill. But you said something that project management is a soft skill. So I want to know how project management has become a soft skill. Also, in the process of your delivery, you kept on using the word negotiation. Do you mean negotiation in terms of resident or in terms of indigent? I think that's just my question. But in all, I think it has been an impressive delivery. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that question. Mr. Olusegun, you can respond. You can respond.
Okay, thank you very much for the kind comments. I'll start with the second question. If you recall, we mentioned about having fullest value for taxpayers, right? So it's not about indigenship, it's about being resident in Lagos specifically. So I hope that settles that. It's about residents in Lagos, people that are living in Lagos, people that are paying taxes in Lagos, to see that projects are delivered, on time. With regards to project management being a technical skill or a soft skill, it's a combination of both, but more of soft skills. A project manager is someone that can integrate people through communication, primarily. I take that again. A project manager is someone that can integrate people primarily through communication. And that is why sometimes at the federal level, you may not be a subject matter expert, but you can be the federal minister of sports. You may not be a sports person, but you can know how to identify people that are very good in sports delivery, or people that have proven track records in sports. So it's about having that ability to bring people together, identifying the people that can do the job and do it very well, identifying subject matter experts, communicating in a language that they understand, and bringing them together to achieve a particular goal or a particular project. Technical skills, yes, is very important. It's an icing on the cake if you have it, right? Perhaps if you're an engineer or a builder or a quantity surveyor, is good. But you find that the project management skills in communicating, in engaging all around through the project is a soft skill, which is extremely important, to the success of the project. An engineer may not be able to talk to I'm sorry I'm picking on engineers, not as if it's the only profession, but an engineer or a builder or a project may not be able to talk to the ballers You may not be able to speak their language, but a project manager must be able to cut across all the stakeholders for the successful delivery of any project. So that's where the difference lies. So it's more on the soft skills than the technical skills. The technical skills is an add-on.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for that response, and I hope that answers that question. So normally we're supposed to end this session by 10:05 thereabout, or 10 minutes past 10 max. So we will just take 2 more questions. Then every other question can follow. It will type. The technical support is going to type an email in the chat box. You can forward the rest questions there. The email is greaterlagosseries@pssdc.ng. So we will just take 2 more questions, and I'll take them in the order of what I have on my screen here. So I have the next person, so that we'll do gender. We have one Adewu in Olashiwoku. Please, you can go ahead with your question, and please remember to make it brief. Thank you. Adewumi Bukola Shiwoku, are you there? Okay. So I think we can quickly move to the next person. So I have another person here, Bumi Anipo. Please, are you there? You can unmute yourself. Bumi.
Thank you very much, the moderator.
Okay. Oh, I think the network, I don't know if it's on my own end here, but your network seems to be cranky, or I don't know, maybe the network's angry. Well, we can't hear you. It keeps breaking. So can you help us put